Have you ever guys sat down and actively thought about the concept, or more specifically, the timeline in which the parent trap happens? Like, really sat down and looked at that? Because today's video, we're going to do that a little bit, as well as just give out a general opinion of the Parent Trap, which, for all intents and purposes, is an occult classic. So, without further ado, let's hop right in. All right, right off the bat, we'll address the thing that I had said in the intro. The timing of this movie, right, is so bizarre. If you objectively look at it. I know, why are you criticizing a child's movie that came out in 1998? Well, because that's my job. as a movie YouTuber, that is quite literally the job description of my job, right? So, if we look at it objectively, we have the two people, the mother and the father, being Elizabeth James and Nick Parker. They meet at the very beginning of a cruise that takes place 11 years and 9 months prior to the events of the movie, right? They meet at the beginning of the cruise, and by the end of the cruise, which if we look at any generic cruise is anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks. I think in the movie they said it was 4-week long cruise, right? But by the end of the cruise, they got married. So they've known each other for 4 weeks. And they get married and have twins all in the span of literally one day. But I'm not saying they had twins in the I'm meaning they consecrated their wedding on the wedding night. And in that first year of being married, they decided the best decision is to take one twin each, because they were identical twins, take one twin each and go their separate ways, which is such a weird idea of how to parent, because at that point it's like a competition of who can parent the other twin better. But here's the best part: they both clearly still had feelings for each other. They both clearly still loved each other, and the movie never clarifies why they broke up specifically, just that they fought a bunch. I don't know, man. It's just weird. It is genuinely bizarre to think about how quickly they go from boom 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 twins, boom boom boom, we're married again, let's go, right? Here's another thing that is also kind of bizarre if you think about it even a little bit. So Elizabeth lives in England. Specifically, she lives in London, right? Why is she sending her kid to a summer camp in Vermont? Or wherever the camp is. I actually don't remember where the camp is specifically. But she sends her child to a summer camp in another country that is just why? Why are you doing this? I've never been to England. I've never been to Europe in general. But I'm assuming they have summer camps there. So why? We watch this movie and we experience something that is genuinely difficult to find nowadays. There's another YouTuber who said something similar. I'm sure I'm not the only one who has ever said this, but movies nowadays fall into one of two categories. You have kids movies and then you have adult movies. You don't really have an in-between. You don't really have a family movie anymore, which is kind of upsetting because this movie very clearly falls in that family setting. It has jokes and things in the movie that are more directed towards the parents, but it also still has that classic family feel for the children, right?
Other end, madam. Whoops.
I genuinely wish we would bring that back. That feel-good family movie that hasn't really happened since I think the early 2000s, because I don't know why. There's probably the surge of Marvel movies and such like that caused it. It's my own personal hypothesis. But all right, there's one specific scene that I completely forgot about until I was editing the video, and I want to put this in here because I feel called out and I feel offended and I feel judged. There's this scene where I think it's Hallie is like specifically talking about having or not having a father in their lives. Screw you, man. Screw you, okay? Just because I grew up fatherless doesn't mean I need to be called out for it, okay?
Just imagine someone's life without a father. Never buying a Father's Day card, never sitting on their father's lap, never being able to say, "Hi, Dad," or "What's up, Dad?" or "Catch you later, Dad."
One thing that I would love to clarify, even though I'm saying that this movie has some of the worst timeline finagling I have ever seen, is it is a really good movie. It genuinely feels good to watch. It's a classic, and the acting in it, specifically by Lindsay Lohan, who plays as the two main characters, Hallie and Annie, the twins, right? And the thing is I believe she was 12 years old when she filmed this movie, and the acting is phenomenal because for the longest time I thought Lindsay Lohan had a twin, because I thought they were two different people, because she does such a good job at portraying two very unique people that just happen to look extremely similar.
My locket, I got it when I was born. It has an H on it. I got mine when I was born too, except mine has an A on it.
And on that note, the fact that they, in the 90s, the early or very late 90s, but still the 90s, they got such good quality twin being the same person but still portraying twins editing done, that it's so weird watching these scenes knowing it is the same person reacting to their own dialogue, and it's just because it feels so smooth and it feels so good. On the topic of the actors and actresses of this movie, I think pretty much every single actor and actress did a phenomenal job. The cast was amazing. Natasha Richardson, who's the person who played as Elizabeth James, who sadly passed away in a skiing accident in 2009, I believe. She played a starstruck lover and mother extremely well. That was amazing.
He said he was a hunk. He was rather dishy. He had a smile that made me go weak at the knees, if you can imagine that.
Dennis Quaid, who played Nick Parker, also played the desperate father pretty well. Like, I can't there's something about Nick's character, or Dennis's character, Nick, that is innately kind of creepy in a weird way, because if you look at the age difference between Nick Parker and Meredith Blake, his fiance, it's like 20 years, which never looks good outside of paper, right? Or even on paper, most of the time it doesn't look all that great. I mean, clearly Meredith is like manipulating Nick, but it's still really weird. And it's like, only in the 90s could you genuinely get away with something like this and it be kind of played off like a joke. I say only in the 90s. Nowadays you can't really get away with doing something like that. I'm not encouraging people to do that, because I think one of the reasons why you can't really get away with things like that nowadays is you have well, it's just too prevalent in real life, and it is unironic in real life that it kind of leaves a sour taste in some people's mouth. I mean, she even pulled out Leonardo DiCaprio and his weird choice in women. At the end of the day, this movie is genuinely just a very simple, feel-good family story. There isn't too terribly much that it adds to it. It's just a very classic story. It's very classic. It's general comedy, general family feel good. It's 2 hours and 8 minutes, which, by the way, when they, like, 2/3 through the movie, I was about as much of the movie as I remembered, because after like 2/3 of the movie, I was like, well, I guess this movie's over, and went to get up only to realize there was still the whole camping scene at the very end and everything.
Oh, by the way, Mare, I think there's something on your head.
Like, I completely forgotten about the last quarter of the movie and was just expecting to like move on with my day. But on that, I don't know if I would say it like runs too long. It is a longer movie, but it's got a classic occult feel to it. I genuinely feel like a lot of people really enjoy this movie because of how nostalgic it is. But if we look at like a general vibe of the movie, I actually genuinely agree with Rotten Tomatoes score of 87%, or an 8 out of 10 for me. To sum up what I've said in the video for kind of a summary thing, I enjoy the movie. I don't think it's anything exciting. I don't really have anything to bat home about. I think the quality of the editing is I think the quality of the editing is phenomenal, and I think the fact that Lindsay Lohan, being 12 years old, managed to play two characters in the same movie at the exact same time, probably not the exact same time, but like, you know, still two different characters and do an extremely good job at the age of 12 is amazing. It's crazy. It's crazy to think about, right? Like, how are you that talented to be able to do that? And it's, yeah. But let me know down in the comments below what you guys thought of the movie. If you like this movie, if you dislike this movie, if you think it's boring, if you think it's interesting, if you agree with my opinion on family movies being kind of not a thing anymore, let me know. And also let me know if there's anything you guys want me to check out. I have a schedule already created of movies I'm going to check out in the future, but because these types of videos tend to be a little bit easier and shorter to edit, I can totally do more than one a week. I'm just going to stick with one a week. But without further ado, I think I'm going to end the video here. And like I said, leave a comment down below if there's anything you want covered, or if you disliked this video, just type it down below and I'll see what I can improve. Any criticism is good criticism, as long as it is polite. You don't have to necessarily be nice, just be polite. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. For the Percy Jackson show videos, I just can't bring myself to make one. I genuinely cannot bring myself to do it. Because Rick Riordan failed in his promises, I don't know if I'm gonna actually finish the show. I'm gonna see tonight. I'll try and finish it. There are very, very few things, because I'm not watching it to continue a series on my channel anymore. I don't know if I'll actually finish it. I'm gonna try, but I'm not gonna make another video, because this channel is meant to be a funny feel-good thing, not a debates in the comments necessarily. And from the last few videos that I've done of the Percy Jackson show, as well as the Harry Potter movies, I feel like those are just things that I'm just gonna stay away from, because I'm an extremely opinionated person and feel like if I put my opinions out there, it's only going to put wood on the fire, because I don't like the show for very personal and specific reasons. And it has nothing to do with the acting or anything like that. So it has nothing to do with the characters or the character portrayals to a certain degree. But I just don't want to put more wood on that fire, because that is not a fire that I want to burn, because I'm really hoping that if they do continue this show, they do a lot better with the next future show or books, basically.